All right.
You good?
We're good.
All right, cool. Here we are at Natalie. I appreciate you making time for a little Linchpin member interview today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Super
Of
happy to
course.
be here.
I'm stoked to have you here. And you are, what state are you in?
I'm in Florida.
Ah, I'm just instantly jealous. I'm up in Washington State, and I think generally speaking, I'm sure you guys have to deal with some serious humidity and whatnot, but I think you probably have it better than we do with 8 months of rain.
Yeah, it's actually gross right now. It says it feels like 40 or 50 something and it's raining, so it's just icky
Oh, is it
outside.
like super muggy?
Yeah, it's muggy cold. So,
Oh,
yeah.
that's no good. I've got so much stuff I want to chat with you about, from parent life to being obnoxiously strong, and which is you are. I'm not, I'm curious to learn how that feels and all that good stuff. So we had a lot of ground to cover, but before we even get down there, before the interview, you sent me some, information about your fitness journey and whatnot. And you said that one of the things that initially, well, maybe we start at the very beginning, you said you didn't have a good um fitness or healthy role models growing
hmm
up? Fitness wasn't a priority in your family, or what was the deal with that?
Yeah, so growing up, my mom was pretty ill. She had Graves' disease, which led to a lot of different comorbidities, epilepsy, diabetes, heart disease.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she was very ill like my whole life. I was in kind of a caretaker role as a child. I distinctly remember like sitting down and talking to both my parents because I was like kind of catching the fitness bug a little bit. I ended up going to fire school and paramedic school, and I got out in 2008. And I don't know if you remember what the economy was like in 2008, but nobody was hiring.
Mm, mm-hmm.
But I remember sitting and talking to them, being like, you shouldn't shop down the aisles. You should just shop the perimeter of the store. And, uh, there was just no changing either of them. My dad kind of took the bait a little bit, and he eventually lost weight, and he's doing a lot better. He takes better care of himself. Unfortunately, my mother did pass away in 2015 from lung cancer because she did smoke for a long time. And yeah, just not a good environment for learning how to take care of yourself for the long term. It was more of oh no, I have this thing happening to me now, right? But it didn't happen to you.
Right.
Maybe you could have done something to prevent it. So that's kind of, I came to that realization thankfully at a young age, but growing up I was overweight and got made fun of a lot. And I was like, finally got to this point where I was like, I have control over this. I can figure this out myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was curious when you said that first of all, what an interesting role to have to be in as a kid, to be like the caretaker of your parents. Like that's a unique role that kids aren't supposed to be in. So that in of itself is kind of fascinating. And then when you said that you'd give your parents advice, I was very curious to see if you actually had success, because I was going to say, if you can tell me how to convince your parents to do things, please tell me how, because I think you're always just the kid in your parents' eyes. It doesn't matter what
hmm
your credentials are. It doesn't matter what I tried. My dad passed away from lung cancer as well, and
Oh, I'm sorry.
a couple other cancers. He had you know, cheaper by the dozen, and he and my mom or him, anytime I try to give them any sort of just like, hey, I'd like for you to be around a little bit longer. You might want to consider doing this. They're like, just couldn't be bothered with it. So I've never had any luck at all. So I don't know what the deal it is with parents. So we'll have to remember that when we're full of gray hair and our young kids say something, like maybe we can remember, like, I wonder if this youngin is on to something.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm sure it's going to be challenging to hear our children become our teachers, but that's what the plan is. Like I honestly, when my wife and I started dating, we didn't want kids. That was one of the
Mm,
things that we were kind of like, cool, you don't want kids, I don't want kids. We're going to travel the world and whatever. And then I don't know what
that
happened.
changed.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. We decided to have kids finally. And I think it was kind of, I did a lot of self work and healing. And I realized that just because X, Y, and Z was my childhood doesn't mean I need to continue that, and I can break the cycle and move forward And, so I hope my daughter wants to teach me things because
Interesting.
that's kind of the framework we're building on, like you can be better than me kind of thing. That's what I want to prepare her for, and our son
And
Luca as well.
and from not having kids to now, how old are your kids? From not
We have
wanting kids to now, how many how old are
we have a 2.5-year old and a 7-week old, so
they?
we're busy.
You're very busy. And what
Yeah,
was, what's funny is we've got some similarities. My parents didn't model healthy behavior with regards to fitness or health. I was overweight growing up, got made fun of, in the 80s, bullying wasn't illegal. It was just what you did,
yeah.
and my name rhymes with fat, so it was just one of those.
So does Nat.
Oh, there you go. It was just one of those things. So it wasn't the kindest of environments. And actually, for most of my adult life, I had no interest in kids. Didn't want kids. Didn't think
Yeah,
anybody would really change my mind. I now have three. Um, what? How is it now having two for so long, not wanting them? You thought that I'm sure all your freedom would go, all these things would happen, and now, what's it like having kids?
it is a whole new world, and a world that I'm so glad I get to experience, because it's like all the things you just go through by yourself when you're not a parent. Oh, there's a bird chirping or there's a butterfly flying by. You're like, that's cool. But when you have a child, you have to stop and you have to like follow that butterfly to the flower.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to look at the flower that it's on, and it's
It
so much.
slows you down.
Yeah, it's so refreshing, and it's like wonder. Everything is just like amazing to them, and you can't help but be like, thank God, I'm so lucky to be able to be their parents, and I get to experience life through their eyes. It's so much cooler than
100%.
boring life through my eyes.
100%. We're all just adults that are, numb to the world and busy. So you're just moving from point A to point B and task to task. And I
Exactly.
remember walking somewhere
Hmm.
with my daughter, being in a rush, and it was a windy day. And she like made me stop because she thought like the evergreen trees blowing was like the coolest thing that she's ever seen and looked so beautiful. And like she just wanted to stop and look at it. And I was like, actually is really beautiful. Like,
Yeah,
I appreciate you making me actually stop and be like, oh, yeah, there's like beauty all around me all the time that I haven't noticed in a while because I'm trying to tick things off my to-do list,
exactly. Yeah. So
which
it's
is
it's great.
which is crazy. But you said, okay, you had that upbringing, and then one of the things that actually got you interested in CrossFit was trying to get back in shape after a car accident back in
Yeah.
2011.
Yeah. So my dad and I actually got in a car accident. We got T-boned. And I knew I had a back injury, but again, I was trying to get hired as a firefighter,
Mm,
and it was tough. I mean, let's be honest, you don't grow up in a family environment that doesn't take great care of themselves and not kind of experience a little bit of depression, maybe some emotional eating as well. So I wasn't getting hired as a firefighter. I was working like 3 jobs. I was working at Starbucks. I was working at a local restaurant, and I was also working in an ER on night
gee,
shift as a paramedic. So I was like
when
not
did you
taking.
sleep?
I don't know. I was so young, but I was definitely eating. So I definitely like blew up. And one day I was like, well, I can't, if I can't save myself, how am I going to take care of other people? Like if I can't take care of myself, how can I be like, oh, hire me to do this
Mm.
job that's going to care for other people? So I was like, I need to wake up. So I actually joined a local CrossFit gym, Gardens CrossFit, and it changed my life because then I got into Mark's Daily Apple. I don't know if you're familiar with that guy.
I know I mean, that rings a bell, but I couldn't tell
Yeah,
what it is.
it's just paleo,
Okay.
and then I did the whole 30 a few times, and I was like, what? Ketchup has sugar?
Right.
Like,
Right. Dang
no.
it.
So definitely everything changed from there. And I haven't stopped working out since then. I mean, I had a couple surgeries, but it definitely led me down, starting at the CrossFit gym led me down my new life of being fit. I always tell my wife, like, I forget that I am fit because
Mm,
I
right.
was unfit for so long, so many years of my life, that I still sometimes view myself that way. And it's like that self talk of like your belief system, where you're like, no, 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 like I take care of myself. I try to get as much sleep as I can, which is not much right now.
Right, of course, 7 week
You
old.
know, I make an effort, an honest effort to eat well and, do everything I'm supposed to do. So, it's like rewiring my brain to think I am fit. I do take care of myself and my family. You know what I mean?
Oh
That was
yeah.
a tangent, but
No, well, it's funny. I love doing these conversations, by the way. I think it's one of the most fun things that I get to do because everybody I've talked to, if they're willing to have a conversation, everybody's got a story. You know,
totally.
no one's just cruising through life on easy street, or if they are, I haven't met them yet. And so you've got a lot of fascinating stuff going on with yourself. I'm curious, the whole like, for lack of a better way to say it, or a more sensitive way to say it, it's not so sound insensitive, like the food issues, right?
Hmm.
That I think will resonate with so many people. That is a common theme, almost regardless of who I talk to. Re- People deal with food and emotions and anxiety, depression in so many ways, and so many times it's linked to food, and that affects them just forever and ever and ever and ever. Are you are you someplace good right now with food? And if so, how did you get there? And what is it that works for you now in real life?
I definitely am in a much better place with food. I mean, obviously, having babies and being postpartum myself after I had my daughter was super hard. Just like the hormones alone, and then you have to feed this baby, and no one
Can't
tells
even
you.
imagine.
Yeah, no, the what to expect book is a lie. There's nothing to expect.
Expect
Don't
chaos.
yeah, expect nothing. Nothing that anybody tells you. But I mean, there's been a lot of ups and downs, but I'm definitely in a much better place now. When I was competing for powerlifting, I would do macros. So
Hmm.
like weighing everything and not being super restrictive, but like I went from doing paleo with my the beginning of my fitness journey to, oh, if it fits your macros. So I'm like, oh, how
Hmm.
much Ben and Jerry's can I fit into my
I've
day?
been there as well.
And it just got to the point where both my wife and I, we were like, forget this. Like we were doing nutrition coaching for people for a little while as well. And it just turned into almost these therapy sessions where, like you were saying, so many people can relate to food issues because most people have issues with emotional eating.
Hmm.
And it is normal, honestly, especially in our culture because something good happens, you go out to eat.
You
It's your
celebrate.
birthday, you're going to have some cake. Someone dies, you make mac and cheese and you bring it to the funeral. Like
Comfort food.
it's just part of our culture, and food is culture, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think you have to know when, okay, I got home from work, I had a stressful day, I'm going to eat 6 Oreos.
Right.
And then you don't even, I mean, you look at the box, two is what, 140 calories. So you can really do some damage.
And you're
And
not like satisfied after the six. It didn't
no,
cure or help anything. It's this very short-lived pressure release that pops back up real soon.
oh, absolutely. And then you go, I can't believe I just did that. And you beat yourself up, and then you like shame spiral, and you're like, well, if since I did that, then the rest of the day is a wash, and it can go on and on from there. But I
Hmm.
think just like realizing that that is what happens and just being aware, being mindful about, hey, I don't restrict myself like when I was doing macros, like I don't weigh my food anymore. Just make, you know, an honest effort to just eat whole foods and, desserts here and there because I like desserts.
Amen to that. Amen to that. A
And
life of
I
desserts is
really
not a
like
life
to
that I
bake.
want.
I like to bake as well.
Ooh, yeah.
So
What are your
it's
specialties?
I do sourdough bread, and I make really good cinnamon roll scones and
Oh
chocolate
my
chip cookies. I
goodness.
know it's tough to be It's
I'm
tough.
sure your wife is happy. Does she have a sweet tooth?
Yes, she does. We both do. That's one of our commonalities for sure. I'm like, Ben and
Oh,
Jerry's is BOGO this week. Stop me.
so if you had to encapsulate how you eat right now, is it just that simple? Just you're aware of what whole foods are and you try to make the best decisions possible?
Definitely, like, you know, I made a bunch of like breakfast sandwiches ahead of time before Chelsea gave birth to our son. So just something easy that I can grab before I
Mm,
run out the door with my hair on fire and get to work. And I always pack my lunch. So I always have my food available. I always bring my snacks. And then for dinner, usually we cook most of our meals on a Sunday. Um, sorry, I'm kidding.
very good.
And everything's pretty much ready for the week. That way we don't have to think about it because when I'm sure you understand like decision fatigue, that's what I was talking about on one of my comments in one of my posts in the Facebook group was I was only working out 3 days a week. So I was having to pick and choose which workouts I was not going to do or which ones I wanted to do. And it
Gotcha.
got to the point where I was like, oh my God, I just don't even know what to do. I don't want to do this anymore. So that's kind of how we do with our nutrition is like
Mhm.
we figure out what we want to eat, we make it, and it's ready. And then, if we need to make more food, then we'll just do it throughout the week. Um, and it
That's
just
smart.
makes it easier.
The preparation is such a, and if you can have the discipline to a little preparation, it's just tasty food is tasty, right? I mean, so it's
Totally.
always harder to grab the lean chicken breast than the tasty treat. But at least if there are pre-made, prepared, healthy options in your fridge when you open it, you're giving yourself a fighting chance. But if you don't do the preparation and you just see the quick and easy, tasty thing there, and the healthy stuff's not prepared, you're like, well, I don't want to spend 15 minutes preparing that. I'll just grab this. Like the preparation is so, I mean, that's
Hmm.
just clutch. I think that's a game changer, quite frankly.
Totally. I mean, I hate doing the dishes, but I love not having to buy food all the time. And I always know that I have food available. Some of my coworkers are like, I got to go down to the cafeteria. And I'm like, good luck
Right. Right.
down there.
So, so you get yourself in a, which is great, a realistic place with nutrition, which I think everybody that's a wonderful thing to do. I did the zone for so long, and it works. I mean, the zone works. But
Totally.
I also
Yeah.
remember,
Macros work. I mean,
yeah,
you can't,
and I
but then
did it
how do
like
you
a
live
crazy
like that?
person for years. And I remember even while doing it and while reaping the benefits, thinking to myself, as great as this is, like I'm not going to be weighing something when I'm 71 years. Like I'm not doing this for the rest of my life. So I'm going to have to find some way that I can break free of this and works. And so finding something that you can exist as a human being in the real world and go to work, go to the party and still want to be fit, like that's a great place to be. Uh, so you said you guys get yourself to a local gym. You met your future wife there, and one of the favorite things I love this. I interview some people every now and then. They just make me laugh. One of the things you said in your like kind of bio was that there was like a maxing out day or like a heavy day in the class,
Yeah.
or the power lift, and you just thought to yourself, hmm, I think I might maybe have some potential in this area. So you sign up for a local power meet, and then you wind up like breaking an American record. Like, what in the world? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, talk to me. What's the deal there?
Yeah. So I don't know. It's bizarre because I had never been very athletic growing up at all. Like I was in chorus and band and winter guard, like not lifting. I distinctly remember like this picture of me and my best friends from high school, and we were in our winter guard outfits, and my traps were out, and I was like, oh, I wish I didn't look like that. I wish I
Just
didn't have these
mortified.
traps. And now I'm like, hell yeah, I have. Sorry, heck
Right,
yeah, I
right. You're
have these
good. Say whatever you
traps.
want.
And so it's just so interesting to see the evolution of back in high school, wishing I didn't have them, and now I'm like, that's why I deadlift so heavy.
I was going to say, were you,
um,
were you naturally strong, even though you don't, you say that you weren't athletic, that means you could still be strong.
Yeah, I think I've always been strong. I just never knew because I never lifted anything really. And So yeah, we did. I think we were maxing out squat or deadlift or something, and I pulled like 355 for five or three or something, and I was like,
That's
this.
amazing.
And my coaches were like, you should try to do a meet, and I think that was when I was doing a different federation, and we ended
Okay.
up going to like my wife and I went to Las Vegas and competed in their world championship, world. It was probably
Right, right.
like three states or something. And I don't think I think I got second place at that powerlifting meet. And then I went on to a local powerlifting gym and did like a mock meet there. They were doing just like a fun meet, and I met my powerlifting coach, Arian, and because he
Okay.
like came up to me and he was like, "Hey, like you got some skill. Let's get together." And we became instant friends. And he coached Chelsea and I, and we went on to break a couple American records. I won the North American Powerlifting Federation championship in like
Wow.
2016, I think. And yeah, it was a lot of fun doing it. But all the while, I was dealing with a back injury, and I knew that I had it, but I never got an MRI because again, I was trying to get hired as a firefighter. And
Seems
if
like
you
a
if
tough,
you have that MRI with a back injury, they're kind of like,
yeah, but also it seems like a tough sport to have a back injury in powerlifting.
I didn't know that it was like a back injury. I just
Okay.
thought, well, I've got this like adductor pain. That's what it was. It was like high adductor inner thigh pain. And then eventually, after years of physical therapy and trying to like fix it with like all these different isolation moves and all,
Mm,
massage and all this stuff, I was getting ready for the last powerlifting meet I did like competitively, Raw Nationals 2017 with USAPL. And I was like, I'm not doing well.
mm,
I was reaching out to my insurance company to try to get approved to get an MRI, and they were like, you need to do X, Y, and Z before we'll approve it. And I was like, okay. So I was just kind of like waiting on it. And then I did the powerlifting meet. Um, I think I came in fourth place with a busted spine. I didn't
right.
know that it was that bad. I didn't know I had sciatica. I was like 27, 28. Why would I have sciatica?
Right, right.
I'm in good shape. I thought that was like a truck driver that drives with his wallet in his back pocket. That's who has
Hmm.
sciatica, not me. I just squatted 375 pounds. I don't have sciatica.
Right, of course.
And so, went back to work because, you know, just powerlifting for fun on the side.
Oh, I was also
And
going to say I'm going to bet too, as somebody that's had their fair share of injuries from dumb stuff. It's also fascinating if you've had something for a while, which you can just get used to. It becomes a part of your life that you just are
mhm,
living with this chronic pain, and it's you can just get used to it, which is crazy.
definitely, yeah. I mean, I thought, okay, it's normal. My hamstring is cramping. Like, of course it is. I just did some crazy rep range at a high percentage back squat. Why wouldn't my
Hmm.
hamstring be cramping?
Right.
But it really was, my nerves were like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Um, so I went back to work, which I worked at a hospital in a cardiac catheterization unit, and you wear lead because we work with like radiation or x-ray equipment. And it was like the end of the day, and I looked at one of my coworkers and I was like, I got to go to the ER because no one knew that I was in excruciating pain. It wasn't like, oh God, I'm dying. I was just like,
Hmm.
I'm going to the ER. I got to get an MRI. I don't know what's going on. I got an MRI. The ER doctor was like, you need back surgery like yesterday. And I was like, that's really weird. I thought you were just going to tell me that I'm fine. And
Right.
I ended up, I think like 2 weeks later, getting an L5 S1 microdiscectomy. Thankfully, I didn't get a fusion or anything, so I don't have any hardware there. Um, but I could sit down again because I
Yeah.
couldn't sit. Like I had to, if I was trying to sit, I was in just I wanted to jump right back up, you know. So
It's so
it was
crazy.
brutal.
I mean, and you probably delayed it for as long as you did because you're not a regular human. I mean that in the best way possible. Like you're strong, you're obviously mentally tough, you're an athlete, you are used to being in pain, you're used to pushing your body, and you probably just sucked up that injury for far longer than the average civilian would have.
Yeah, probably. And plus, I would do like physical therapy and I would see a little bit of
Mm.
like it was working. So I was like, I'm fine. And then it just got to a point where it wasn't working anymore. And I was like, oh no, something's not right. I got to go get checked out.
So you would think that you have the surgery and that's going to be awesome, right? Because problem solved. But and maybe the mechanism and maybe the injury itself was on a better path, but you said that the injury was hard both physically and mentally because you're used to being this strong, ferociously strong powerlifter. Now you can't tie your shoes.
Exactly. Yeah. I had to wear a back brace for 12 weeks. I
Oh
couldn't bend
wow.
over. Um, yeah, I couldn't do anything really. Initially, I was just kind of like laying on the couch on my back with ice on my back. And it's kind of a blur, honestly, because again, like I went from like competing at a huge powerlifting meet and then like that was it
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. Um, yeah, it was really hard. The
Do you
same people I
remember? Oh, go
go
ahead. Go
ahead.
ahead.
I was going to say the same people that I did physical therapy with before I had surgery helped me rehab back um, after surgery. Shout out to Dr. Z at Elite Therapy and Wellness and Nicole. Like, they're super awesome people, and they're the reason why I can still do the things that I do today. You know, I don't really have any limitations other than my brain.
Yeah, isn't, I mean, I've been blessed to have some good surgeons in my life. They're just an absolute gift from above with what they can give back to you as far as your
Hmm.
quality of life or range of motion or reduction of pain. Is it safe to say that now you had this huge thing happen to you? Now you're knocked down on your butt and this back brace, you're not anywhere near as capable as you're used to doing. Did some trouble with food creep back in?
Yeah, after a little while, it definitely did. It was really hard. I mean, and then you throw pain pills into the equation
Hmm.
and you know, it was not good at all. So,
What
um
made you pull yourself out of that and get back on the horse again?
pretty much the same thing that's always kind of driven me forward. Now, I mean, after I met my wife, she's kind of just like a shining beacon. Like she is just an amazing woman. So, you know, she helped me when I was at my lowest, like scraping the floor and just loved me, you know? And I feel
Hmm.
like sometimes that's all it takes is just someone like not telling you to get up and get going, but just like being gentle with you and letting you go through whatever you need to go through so that you can, you know, come back even stronger than you were before. Like not even just physically, but mentally, you know. Like I said, I did a lot of work with therapy and everything too. It's not just physical. Like probably the main reason I work out is for my mental health. Just because it's like so important to me because I've seen what bad mental health can do to you physically, you know. So for me, if I can take care of myself physically, but it also helps me mentally, then we're good.
I agree fully. I agree fully. I mean, if you stay in this game long enough, right, which we all hope to do. So if you're back squatting in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, like you're probably not going to be squatting as much in your 60s and 70s as you did in your 30s if you've been, consistently training. But there's value in still squatting. There's value
Hmm.
in maintaining that range of motion. There's value in firing up your central nervous system and strengthening your muscles, regardless of the load in the bar. But there's also just the mental benefit of just, getting your heart rate up, getting under the barbell, like whatever it happens to be, feeling that fight or flight response just for a second. It's for me, yeah, same as you to some degree. Like there are some days that I didn't sleep well. Maybe I should whatever, but I'm going to walk into the gym if it's a workout day, even if it's maybe not ideal for my musculature. Walking into the gym and doing what I got to do, like it helps keep me sane. And that makes me actually a better husband to my wife, a better father to my kids. Like I'm a better human being if you just let me have that gym time. We're all
Mm-hmm.
better for it. And so I'm going to do that, you know.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah.
I need it. So you eventually you get yourself back into a CrossFit gym, and then you two bought yourselves a home and decide to kind of build out the old garage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And are you happy right now with how the garage gym is, or there are still a few toys that you want to acquire?
Oh no, we have so much stuff. Like we have the ski wherever it is,
You got it
which
all.
I which I need to start using just for fun. We have the rower, which was one of the first pieces of equipment we bought. We got it off Craigslist for like $600. It's like
Oh,
a
that's a good deal.
PM3 Concept 2, and it still runs exactly the same
They
like as
run
a new
forever.
one.
They run forever.
Yeah. Another Craigslist find was the dreaded Echo bike, which murdered me this morning. I tried so hard and I got to the round of 10 and I was like, I can't keep going.
I don't make any money on that bike. I'm here to tell
No,
you.
I am short.
It's not my friend. Yeah, I'm not a powerful athlete. There's people that are so happy on that day. Some of the scores that people put up on that
I
bike are obnoxious, like
I don't
literally
understand.
obnoxious.
I don't even understand getting to the round of 13 on the Echo bike and we've got people in like 27 and I'm like, what?
Benny, yep, fully agree. How has the transition from, working out in an affiliate to now having to have that discipline to walk out into the garage every day? Everything has its pros and cons, but how is that transition for you?
So we've been doing it since I think March of 2019, right? Well, no, March 2019? I don't know, maybe,
Ish.
but ish. And because we've been like following you on Instagram for forever since 2012 or 2011 and would do all your monster mash and all sorts of silly stuff. And it's not bad. I mean, I do miss the camaraderie or the competition in a class, but it is just nice to be able to like set my alarm, wake up in the morning, make this a priority, get my work done just like you, and then I can go on with throughout my day. I don't have to think about, oh, I got to work out later. I got to make it to this class and hopefully I can make it on time and it's just it's invaluable. It's a great resource.
Yeah, I'm 100% right there with you. And I guess maybe having that garage gym, did it allow you to even get the old workouts during the pregnancies?
Oh, definitely. Speaking of pregnancies, I have to pick up the baby.
Oh, yes, please do.
Hi. He's a star. This is
Hi.
Luca.
Hi.
This is our 7 week old.
Oh my goodness.
He's
Wow.
chonky.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. But yeah,
Easy
I worked out,
baby,
huh?
easy baby, difficult baby.
I feel like they're all so individual, and our first was so hard because we didn't know what we were doing.
Mm. Mhm.
So now that we have the experience, it's so much easier, even though we have two. So I think everybody should be forced to like go help a freshly postpartum woman with her newborn for 2 weeks or something.
That would be, and it's
Just
such
so
a
you can like
valuable on-ramp.
understand, huh?
That'd be such a valuable on-ramp.
Yeah, just so you can understand that in the hospital they tell you they're going to eat every 2 to 3 hours on a schedule and it's going to be great.
It's gonna
That's a
be
lie.
great. Oh,
So,
yeah. On a total side note, do you two have any, I guess, do you have some support near you, whether it's family or relatives? Are you kind of on your own?
my wife's mother is the mother of the year or century. She's just like she's an amazing like mother to Chelsea and mother-in-law to me. She's like great. So she helps us all the time with whatever we need. So
That's
she's a
a blessing.
godsend. Yeah.
That's a blessing because not all mother-in-law relationships are good.
No, I know. I hear a lot of
Lucked
horror
out.
stories.
I think you lucked out. You lucked out right there for sure.
Yeah.
Um, well, I won't keep you too long so you can get back to your mother duties. Maybe one of the final questions you touched on it earlier, but maybe you could wrap with it is what was it that you went through recently where, you were in a bad place and you're like, I need to change something or move or get out of here and looked around and wound up for whatever reason, not only sticking with Linchpin, but going from 3 days to 5 days a week. Like what was that little journey?
Yeah, so, I like I touched on earlier, just after having our first child, the postpartum anxiety and depression was just brutal for me. I had some issues like with breastfeeding, and
Mm,
it was so hard. You don't want to ever feel like you can't feed your baby. So that was really tough, and it was just hard to figure out how to. I had a C-section, so I've had like three kind of major surgeries. I had uh, my left foot. I have two screws in my left foot. I had my back surgery, and then I had a C-section. So
good,
it's kind
good.
of like playing with me mentally after I had Ezra, where I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to make it back from this one. I don't know if I can do it. And it was just working full time, trying to find the time and I guess legitimize getting in the work, like getting the
Hmm.
workouts in. And then I finally was like, okay, no matter what happens, I'm going to work out today. No matter what happens, I'm going to do this. And I said to my wife before, uh, probably, I think in October this year, I was like, I got to figure something out because I feel like I'm in a fitness rut. That's what I said to
Mm.
her. And I wasn't in a rut. I just wasn't, like I told you earlier, the decision fatigue of only working out 3 days a week and trying to figure out which workouts to do was just hard. I couldn't make that decision. And finally, I was like, well, I know how to get rid of that. I'll just work out the 5 days.
Problem
And it,
solved.
yeah, and it wasn't like I was, oh, I'm gonna do RX every day and make sure that if there's a deadlift workout, I'm gonna do the deadlifts and the pull-ups. Like I was dealing with a super random bicep injury from carrying my 2.5-year-old and then lifting a patient at work. I had like a partial bicep tear
Hmm.
on my left arm. So I wasn't doing pull-ups. I was only doing, I think, bent over rows with a dumbbell
Okay.
for
Yeah.
a while because I was or a barbell because I was like
Not
I'm
cool.
not gonna hurt myself more. I'm just gonna try to bring it back. And yeah, I just got into a routine where it was like brushing my teeth. I would just make sure I got the 5 workouts in, no matter how like no equipment, limited equipment, super
Good
duper
for
scaled.
you. I was
And
like, you basically you just gave yourself some grace. I mean, my goodness, you got so many things going on with life and work and what's going on with your body and hormones and postpartum and two kids. Like, I mean, like, give yourself some grace, like, some freedom. Like you said, who cares if it's scaled or prescribed, or who cares if you turn the clock off? Who cares if you have to modify? I mean, it's winning if you do something.
totally, yeah. And that's kind of how I switched the gears because I had been I don't know. I was trying to be like perfect on these workouts that I was doing. And it was, paralysis by analysis. I was like, I didn't do that. So blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, you got something in. Just do it. Like, even when we came home with Luca, I think, I don't know, I probably got an hour of sleep, 2 hours of sleep. And I was like, while you guys are sleeping, I'm going to go outside and do 20 minutes on the bike.
Right, right.
That's it. Like I'm gonna just sweat for a minute.
Yeah.
And then I felt so much better because the cortisol,
Right.
like after you have a newborn baby and you're not sleeping, I had the opportunity to nap and I was just laying there and my heart was just racing because I just couldn't turn my brain off. And I was like, I gotta go burn this off. And I felt so much better afterwards.
Your wife wouldn't be shocked to hear that you're a perfectionist.
No.
And which is great in so many areas, but sometimes when life gets chaotic and you're still holding on to the need to be perfect, that's a stressful situation when you just need to give yourself some grace and realize this isn't forever.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a we're in the storm right now.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know?
So it's just been like freeing. I know I'm sure you've heard like discipline equals freedom, that whole saying. And it's just the routine is what's freeing. It's just like our toddler. I'm sure you
Mm-hmm.
can attest to that too. They love routine.
100%.
You get them out of their routine, they're like, ah, and that's kind of how we are too as adults. We have our, go to work Monday through Friday or whatever we do and hit the gym 5 days a week. And, if we can check those boxes and take care of ourselves, then it's like, okay, I'm doing it. We're
Well,
doing it.
I've 100% agree, and I've definitely taken up plenty of your time with your two little babies. So let me leave you with this one final question. Just advice to new moms who are maybe they've fallen off the wagon and they're struggling right now.
Like you said, give yourself some grace, ask for help. It's okay to take 2 years to come back to working out 5 days a week because you have the rest of your life to work out.
Mm-hmm.
If it takes you that long to sort it out, like it did me. Um, because 3 days is better than no days, you know? Um,
Amen. Absolutely.
just as long as you're feeling good and taking care of yourself and you are a good mom. I feel like a lot of moms need to hear that. Like you're
Yes, ma'am.
doing, you're doing, you're doing amazing. Just like the fact that not only are you taking care of yourself, but your kids. And it's not easy. The way it's set up, our world is not set up for mothering or parenting. It's hard. So
Hmm. And
just
if you haven't been there, you just don't have an appreciation for how darn hard it is.
yeah.
I just didn't know what parents went through until I had kids. I just didn't know.
Oh, absolutely. And then you add on top of that all the illnesses they bring home from daycare.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like on top of that's another reason why I couldn't work out, or I was telling myself I couldn't work out because I was having like chronic sinus infections for months, for probably a year. So, you know, but it just goes to show you like there's always going to be an excuse or a reason, right? Like,
Yes.
but you have to evaluate where you're at. Like, do I have a head cold and I can maybe go out to the gym, do a little something, not kill myself, like, but just do something. Oh, my daughter just got home from daycare. You're going to meet the whole family today.
All right.
Um, Hi, Ezra. Do you want to say hi to Mama's friend? Okay. Here, let me switch it to. Oh, there goes my.
Oh,
Here, come sit on
gotcha.
Mama's.
Hi.
Come sit on my lap.
How was daycare?
Come up here.
My
There
daughter's at
you go.
daycare. My daughter's at
All right.
daycare now. My daughter's three and a
You want to
half.
say hi to Mama's friend? Say hi, Pat.
Hi.
Hi, Pat.
Hi. I need to
Do
go
you
get
have
my
stamps
daughter
on
in a
your
little
hand?
bit.
Can you show them your stamps?
Ooh, that's a
Nice.
good
Did you
looking
get that on the
stamp.
gym bus today?
Stamps on both hands. That's
Hold on,
cool.
this thing is.
That's cool. My daughter's a big fan of stamps too. My daughter got stamps last night at gymnastics. She was so happy.
Do you like gymnastics? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she was so happy. The stamps is her favorite part of the whole class.
Oh, absolutely. They give her stickers at Ezra's gymnastics class, but then she also does the gym bus in the middle of
Oh,
the week. Did
okay.
you jump on
Okay.
a trampoline today? Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
very good. Can you
that's
say
cool.
trampoline? Trampoline. Very good.
Well, hey, go do your family thing. Natalie, thank you. I mean, thanks for being awesome. Thanks for being open and genuine, and thanks for being, one of the people that make Linchpin really cool. I deeply appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time and including me. I feel super honored and like nerding out because I'm a huge fan of yours and just super happy to be a part of the community.
And please give my best to your wife, and she's an angel for letting us have these last 45 minutes.
I will. Thank you.
Thanks again. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.